It spent $91 million in cleanup efforts. Here to discuss more on this, the settlement specifically, and much more, Attorney General Leslie Rutledge. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you for having me on, Bob.
I guess Wednesday is your first 100 days.
It was, and it was first 100 days in office. We accomplished many things, and this consent decree that we had with the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality, the Department of Justice, to acknowledge and for Exxon to agree to this consent decree that it is responsible for that oil spill and that crude oil that ran out into the neighborhoods and on into Lake Conway in 2013.
This was, well, for lack of better terms, a big mess out there, and certainly something your predecessor began to handle, and then you come into office, and then you've got ExxonMobil on your desk. What is it like to essentially go up against one of the largest, if not most profitable companies on the planet? Powerful, too.
There is no issue too small. There is no issue too great that I will not take on as, for Arkansans, as their attorney. And whether it's a big company like Exxon or a small company, we're going to protect Arkansans. What is so important and impactful about this consent decree, Bob, is not just the money amount. There will never be enough money to make those that were affected by it whole. What's critical, why I've called it a critical victory, is because of the things that ExxonMobil has agreed to in the future should they decide to reopen that pipeline, which runs across the state, to prevent something of this nature from happening again.
So you've got agreements aside from money, because a lot of people say, $5 million, as we saw in the piece, they can make that up in a couple minutes.
Absolutely, and when you have a company the size of ExxonMobil, but again, those families will never be made whole. They will never be back in their houses. We can't turn back time, and that's why Arkansans helping Arkansans as they do so well and step up in time of need. But again, the big victory in this consent decree is what Exxon has agreed to do moving forward, and the safety measures, the technology that they will use moving forward to ensure that we don't have a recurrence of this. Some
people say those are things probably money just can't buy.
Absolutely.
Got to agree with. Moving on, developments in the restart executions in the state of Arkansas. The Supreme Court has said that constitutionally we can move forward. Then we move forward and we can legally get these drugs. But now that's turned into a problem getting a hold of the drugs for lethal injection. Where do we stand? Is there going to be some resolution on this anytime soon, or are we just looking way down the road?
Well, we are looking down the road. This won't be something that executions will not start up in the next week or two. There is another court case based on statute legislation that was passed in this last session with regard to confidentiality of providers of the drugs that have been so hard to come by. It is my goal and my intention to work with legislators to handle this case in court as the state's lawyer to ensure that we do get the death penalty back up and running in Arkansas, to give those families of victims the closure that they deserve, that they need.
How about changing out the way an execution is carried out? There's been some discussion about that.
There has been, and that is a question for the legislators. One thing that I've been intent on as the Attorney General is to focus on being the lawyer for the state. And I would encourage people, if they would like to see changes made in the method of execution, to speak with their legislators about that.
Want to move on to the same-sex marriage. That's something that's been discussed quite a bit, especially over this latest session. And a lot of justices, now that we're going to rehear some of these arguments, you thought that was a good idea because we've got new justices up there, but then we've got justices who now recuse themselves from this. So does that kind of muddy the waters to try to get this to move forward for you?
Well, there's two separate cases, and I think that's the important distinction to make, is that in the original lawsuit that was filed by plaintiffs challenging the traditional definition of marriage between one man and one woman, those arguments were held in November. When I came on January 13th, I did ask the court that the justices that were new, that the current court be the ones to decide that case. They now have broken that decision off into a new case. So now there is a new case to decide who will decide the case. And it's in that second case that justices have recused. They have not recused from the original case itself.
So there's a case to decide the case, or decide who's going to decide the case.
That is correct, and yes.
And I'm not even sure what I just said. So it's a complicated issue.
It is, but it's important for people to understand that there are two separate cases. One is to decide who will make the decision on the original case itself, which is challenging Arkansas's traditional marriage or rather Arkansas's definition of traditional marriage as between one man and one woman under the Arkansas Constitution.
And then this summer we're expected to hear something from the Supreme Court. Will that supersede everything that's decided down here?
It will depend what the United States Supreme Court decides and how they make that decision.
So more to come on that.
Absolutely, more to come.
On the issue of gay rights, this week you also certified a ballot title to basically, what some might say, repeal the Senate Bill 202, which prevents cities from putting, and I want to get this correct, prevents cities from expanding anti-discrimination ordinances. This has been a hot topic, and a lot of folks say that this is something that get it where it needs to be, make sure everyone's comfortable. Now it appears that we'll put 202 off to the voters if this ballot title gets approved.
Right. Well, first thing for listeners, viewers to know, and for you to know, is that the Attorney General, I'm charged with approving or rejecting or substituting ballot titles. And I make it very clear that it by no means does it say that I support the measure or I oppose the measure. It's the role that I play is to ensure that whatever is put before the citizens, that it is clear that they understand exactly what they're voting on. As to this, yes, it is SB 202, which is now an act, simply says that a city, municipality, county cannot put in a rule or an ordinance that creates a new classification of those a new protected class that's not already in state law.
Well, Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, thank you very much for your time. Your first 100 days very busy. I'm sure the next 100 are going to be just as, if not more so.
It is, and we have a lot to do still. Thanks, Bob.
Look forward to coming back. Thanks very much. When we come back, hard to believe, the destruction you see here a full year ago. Two mayors who've overseen massive rebuilding operation joining us to discuss their area's comeback. You've got a Capitol View this Sunday morning.